So how do worms change the soil? If we look at this clump of dried out soil, we can see holes here. So worms make tunnels in the soil. That helps with air and water getting into the soil, which in turn helps plants. Also, worms eat dead material, like this grass or leaves. When they digest the material, of course, they poop it out, and that poop is called castings, and that also helps fertilize plants. The last way worms help change the soil is they mix the soil. So they take soil from the top, like in the top soil, and they move it down, which also helps plants. So again, worms help with tunnels by allowing air and water to go through, by eating dead material and pooping it out, which is called castings, and mixing the soil. So the first thing we're going to do is just kind of look through here and see if we can find some worms. And there's one right there. So I'm going to grab that worm and put it in a container. There we go. Let's see if there's any more here. I saw maybe one more. There we go. We have 2 worms to look at now. So let's take a look. So the first thing I always do is I get a wet paper towel to put the worms on, because worms, one thing about worms is they breathe through their skin. So if we don't keep them moist, they can't breathe through their skin. So after it rains sometime, you might see some worms on the sidewalk. And if they can't find their way back home, back into the soil, then they dry out, and then they can't breathe. So it's really important that we want to be really nice to the worms that we're looking at. So if you go to our Soil and Water Conservation webpage, and you can get some more material off our website so you can do the worm activities. Here's one of the cards. So what we want to do is, by looking at the worm, we want to try to find its head, its tail, and the saddle. So let's take a look here. So we've got this worm right here. And by looking at it, kind of see the way it's moving. That's probably the head up here, and the saddle is that place right there in the middle. So if we take a look at this worm, we see how it stretches out. Worms have segments. Can you see all the segments on the worms? And worms have no eyes, so we don't see any eyes. And the other things that's really cool about worms is that they have 5 hearts. They can also eat their body weight in one day. So can you imagine? Let's say you weigh 100 pounds. That means you would be eating 100 pounds of food a day if you were a worm. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these worms, and you can try this at home, and I'm going to put it in a box, and I'm going to see if the worm goes towards the dark part of the box. Worms do not have eyes, but they are sensitive to light. And so we'll see in a few minutes if that worm crawls back towards the back part of the box where it's dark. Remember that worm in the box? Well, it's way back here. So again, worms are sensitive to light, and it's moved back. So you don't have to be afraid to touch worms because they don't have any teeth. They also have 5 hearts. How cool is that? And then also remember, they're sensitive to light because they have no eyes. They also need to keep their skin moist because they breathe through their skin. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put these worms back where I found them. And if you found a worm, please put yours back and take care of it. And come back again to the Fayette Soil and Water Conservation page and next week, and we'll have some more activities for you. You have a great day.